I was halfway through my toast at Thanksgiving dinner when I heard my mother-in-law say it clearly across the table. Honestly, Claire, you contribute nothing to this family. We'd be just fine without you. The cranberry sauce glistened under the chandelier. My husband, Derek, kept his eyes on his plate. His sister, Amanda, smirked into her wine glass. My father-in-law nodded slowly, like she'd just stated an obvious fact. I set down my champagne flute carefully. The crystal made a soft clink against the linen tablecloth. Nothing at all. My mother-in-law continued, warming to her theme. Amanda works so hard at the gallery. Derek built this business from scratch. But you just exist. I smiled, not the tight, fake smile I'd been wearing for 3 years. A real one. Because in that moment, something inside me unlocked. You're absolutely right, I said quietly. My mother-in-law blinked. Surprised, I'd agreed. Excuse me, I said, standing. I need some air. I walked out of that dining room in my burgundy dress, grabbed my coat from the entryway, and got in my car. I didn't slam any doors. I didn't cry. And got in my car. The one Derek didn't know I still had. Let me tell you how I got to that Thanksgiving dinner. 3 years ago, I met Derek at a marketing conference in Boston. He was charming, successful, confident. He ran a boutique consulting firm that advised tech startups. I just drove home to my apartment, the one I'd kept in my name alone. What I didn't know then was that Derek's successful business was bleeding money. The fancy office in Back Bay, 6 months behind on rent. The Mercedes he drove, leased with my credit when his got declined. The elegant wedding his mother insisted on. I paid for it. All $35,000. Just until this quarter's contracts come through. Derek always said, "You know how business is." I was a senior art director at 11 advertising agency. I made good money, and I loved him. So I helped. His mother called me the week after we got married. Derek mentioned you're handy with finances. The family could use your eye on a few things. Those few things became a full-time second job. I restructured Derek's business accounts, set up his payroll systems, handled his quarterly taxes, negotiated with his creditors. His business didn't have an accountant, it had me, working until midnight after my real job. Unpaid. Your family now, his mother said. This is what family does. Amanda's gallery opening. I designed all the promotional materials, the invitations, the website, for free. Of course. His parents' house needed a new roof. Claire's so good at finding contractors. I spent weeks getting quotes, managing the project, even painting the guest room myself on weekends. You're so capable. He ran a boutique consulting firm that advised tech startups. Never thank you. Just acknowledgement that I was useful. For 3 years, I was the family's Swiss Army knife. Need marketing advice? Ask Claire. Need someone to pick up grandmother from the airport at 5 a.m. Claire will do it. Need a $50,000 loan to cover Derek's business shortfall. Claire's got good credit. And through it all, I was invisible at family gatherings. They discuss Amanda's gallery success, the gallery I'd branded. Derek's brilliant business moves, the ones I'd strategized. Their renovated house, which I'd project managed. My name never came up. My work never got acknowledged. I started keeping records. Not because I planned anything. Just because some part of me needed to see it written down, to prove I wasn't imagining things. Every wire transfer. Every unpaid hour. Every favor. I documented everything in a private folder on my laptop. The folder was labeled Contributions. It felt better than labeling it what it really was. Then came Thanksgiving. I'd spent the entire week before preparing. I'd made 3 pies from scratch because his mother mentioned she missed homemade desserts. I'd driven to 4 different stores to find the specific cranberries she wanted. I decorated their dining room with the fall centerpieces she'd seen on Pinterest. When I arrived that Thursday morning at their Brookline brownstone, loaded down with dishes, his mother opened the door wearing lipstick that perfectly matched her scarf. "Oh, Claire, you can set those in the kitchen." Amanda's arranging everything. I watched Amanda take the pies I'd made and place them on the table like they were her own work. She caught my eye and shrugged. They looked store-bought anyway. Dinner was the usual performance. Derek's father talked about his golf game. Amanda discussed her latest gallery show. I just have such a vision for curating emerging artists. His mother praised Derek's business acumen. I sat there, the way I always did, contributing the appropriate murmurs at the appropriate times. Then his mother turned to me. Her eyes were cold in a way I'd never quite noticed before. Claire, dear, you've been so quiet, but then, you usually are. It's fine. Really. Not everyone needs to be interesting. Derek's hand found mine under the table. I thought he was being supportive. Then I felt him squeeze a warning squeeze. Don't make a scene. That's when she said it. Honestly, Claire, you contribute nothing to this family. We'd be just fine without you. And something in me just stopped struggling. I'd been trying so hard to be needed, to be valuable, to be seen. And in that moment, I realized they already knew I was valuable. They just didn't want to admit it. So I left. That night, in my apartment, I made 3 phone calls. First, to my lawyer. Filed for divorce Monday morning. Second, to my bank. Froze the joint credit cards. Changed the passwords on the accounts I'd opened for Derek's business. Third, to myself. I booked a therapy appointment for the following week. Then I did the hardest thing. Nothing. I didn't answer Derek's calls. I didn't respond to his mother's texts. I didn't explain. I just went silent. By Monday, my lawyer had served the papers. By Wednesday, Derek's business payroll bounced. I'd removed my account as backup funding. By Friday, his mother called my office 12 times. I blocked every number. The silence I gave them was louder than any argument I could have made. 2 weeks later, my lawyer called. They want to talk. Apparently Derek's business is in serious trouble without your involvement. Tell them I have nothing to contribute, I said. They'll be just fine. A month after Thanksgiving, I got a letter. Not from a lawyer, from Derek himself. Handwritten. I didn't realize. It started. 5 pages of realizations. How much I'd done. How much they'd taken. How much he'd let his family use me. I think I loved the version of you that I could use. He wrote, I never stopped to love the actual you. I read it once. Then I put it in the shredder. The divorce proceedings revealed exactly how much I'd contributed. My lawyer itemized everything. Ibay Arshitsi 0 inches direct financial support to Derek's business. Estimated $85. 0 inches unpaid professional services. Another $43. 0 inches family expenses I'd covered. You basically funded their entire lifestyle, my lawyer said, showing me the spreadsheet. And they gave you nothing in return. They gave me a lesson, I said. That's worth something. Derek tried to claim he deserved half of my savings, the money I'd earned at my real job while funding his fake success. The judge laughed him out of court. His mother showed up at my office 3 months after I left. Security called me from the lobby. There's a Patricia Sutherland here demanding to see you. Tell her I'm in a meeting, I said. She says it's an emergency. It's always an emergency, I said, but it's never my emergency anymore. I never saw her. I never had to. Through mutual friends. I heard the aftermath. Derek's business closed within 6 months. He had to sell the Mercedes. His parents had to take out a second mortgage when Derek couldn't pay them back the money they'd loaned him, money that came from me originally. Amanda's gallery struggled without the marketing strategy I'd built. She tried to hire a real brand consultant. She couldn't afford one. They'd been fine with me. Without me. They discovered what they actually were. Dependent. I want to tell you I felt vindicated. I want to say watching them struggle gave me some dark satisfaction. The truth is simpler. I stopped thinking about them at all. I got promoted 4 months after the divorce. Senior creative director. The time I'd been spending on Derek's chaos, I poured into my actual career. Turns out, I was exceptionally good at my job when I wasn't exhausted from being everyone's unpaid support system. I started dating someone new. James was a high school teacher. Made a third of what Derek pretended to make. On our 3rd date, he insisted on paying even though I'd chosen the expensive restaurant. I asked you out, he said simply. That means I'm treating you like someone worth treating well. I cried in the bathroom. Happy tears. For once, I reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with during my marriage, the ones who'd tried to warn me about Derek's family, the ones I'd been too defensive to listen to. We tried to tell you. My best friend Sarah said over coffee, "But you can't save someone from a situation they don't want to see yet." "I see it now," I said. "That's what matters." A year later, I got a Facebook message from Derek. I'd unblocked him because I genuinely didn't care anymore. "I'm in therapy." It read, "Working on things. I finally understand what I did. What we all did. I'm sorry. Claire, you deserved so much better." I read it twice. Then I typed back, "I hope therapy helps you. I truly do. But I'm not the person to process this with anymore. Take care." He responded immediately. "Can we at least talk?" "Coffee. I need closure." "You're looking for closure from me," I wrote back. "But I'm not the one keeping the door open." "You are. Close it yourself." Then I deleted the conversation and went back to designing a campaign for a client who actually paid me what I was worth. That's the thing about leaving people who don't value you. The closure doesn't come from them apologizing. It comes from you realizing you don't need the apology anymore. Last month, I bought a house. Not an apartment, an actual house with a backyard in Cambridge. I furnished it exactly how I wanted. Modern, clean, full of light. No compromises. No one else's opinions. I hosted my first dinner party there 2 weeks ago. My real friends. My colleagues. My boyfriend James. We cooked together, laughed together, cleaned up together. At one point, James squeezed my hand, not a warning squeeze. But "I'm happy you're here," squeeze, and said, "This place feels like you." "That's because it is me," I said. Finally, someone asked about my ex-husband. "Do you ever regret leaving?" "Every day," I said. Everyone went quiet. "I regret that I didn't leave sooner." The table erupted in understanding laughter. Here's what I learned. When people tell you that you contribute nothing, they're really telling you that they've stopped seeing your contributions because they feel entitled to them. When people say they'd be fine without you, they're really saying they're afraid of finding out how much they need you. When people treat you like you're invisible, they're hoping you won't notice that they're using you. But the moment you do notice, the moment you step back and let them experience your absence, that's when they finally see you. Not because you changed, but because the gap you left behind is shaped exactly like all the things you did that they pretended not to see. You don't owe anyone your presence just because they've grown comfortable with your generosity. You don't owe anyone your labor just because they've decided to call it love. You don't owe anyone your silence just because your truth makes them uncomfortable. And you definitely don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. That Thanksgiving dinner. My mother-in-law said I contributed nothing. She was wrong. I contributed everything. The difference is, now I contribute to a life that actually values what I bring to it. I smiled at that dinner because I finally understood. Their need to diminish me was never about my worth. It was about their fear of losing access to it. And once I stopped seeking their approval, I stopped needing to prove anything. I just left. And in that silence, I found something they could never give me. My own voice. Saying clearly, "I'm worth more than this." And I was right. If you're reading this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you're the person who keeps giving to people who keep taking, if you're wondering when it's okay to stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, let me tell you, it's okay right now. Your absence will teach them your value far better than your presence ever could. And more importantly, your absence will teach you that you were never the problem. You were just solving the wrong equation. You were trying to prove you mattered to people who'd already decided you didn't. You were trying to earn love from people who only knew how to extract. Stop solving for their happiness. Start solving for your peace. That's not selfish. That's survival. That's not cruel. That's clarity. That's not giving up. That's growing up. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Just smile. Just leave. Just let them figure out who they are without you propping them up. They told me I contributed nothing, so I gave them exactly what they said they wanted. Nothing from me. And you know what? They were right about one thing. They are fine without me. And I'm better than fine without them.